Hello students, we are doing lesson number 7, the age of Guptas. We have already discussed little bit about the historical background of this, and under sources to reconstruct this age we have done literary sources as well as archaeological sources, and related to the rulers of this dynasty is not in our syllabus, that are reduced syllabus of ICSE board. This time these topics are not included. Now we are going to start with the next main topic, that is contribution to the progress of literature and education. Gupta age is known as the golden age of Sanskrit literature because rich Sanskrit literature was developed during this time period. And related to this, sometime question could be there, why Gupta age is known as golden age of Sanskrit literature? Then your answer will be from this particular topic only. Okay, so let us start with this. So this is known as the golden age of Sanskrit literature because of its classical literary works like epics, dramas, and lyrics, prose, and beside other works that are related to philosophy and various sciences. So the development in the field of literature was there in this time period. So under the literary works we are having the works of Kalidas only. So we already referred to the literary talent and genius of Kalidas, and he wrote Abhijan Shakuntalam, that is known as Shakuntala, and this writing is regarded as one of the best literary production of the world. With this, he also wrote Malvikagnimitra and Vikramavasya. These two are excellent dramas written by him, and also he wrote two epics. One is Raghu Vamsa and another one is Kumara Sambhava, and lyrics poetry of Ritu Samhara and Meghduta. So these are the very great writings of Kalidas, and vivid portrayal of characters, refined language, and appreciation of the beauty of nature made his literary work valuable gems of Sanskrit literature. So due to his these work, or due to this work was developed or written or composed during the time period of Gupta Empire, and this was the age of Sanskrit language development. That's why it is known as the golden age of the Sanskrit literature. So under the university, again we are having only one topic, that is Nalanda University. So it was most famous of the educational institution of ancient India, and this Nalanda University is situated near Rajgriha in Bihar, and it was founded during the reign of Kumaragupta in the middle of 5th century AD, and it developed into a famous center of learning under the patronage of Gupta ruler of Harshvardhana. It means Harshvardhana gave support with money, and this university developed during the time period of Harshvardhana. Now its important features. So important features of Nalanda University. Admission to this university was restricted by a difficult entrance examination, and only 2 or 3 out of 10 succeeded in getting admission. It means admission, the process of admission was very difficult. Now, like in these days, if you want to get admission in prominent institutions, there are entrance tests. Similar entrance test was there, and out of 10, near about 2 or 3 students were only successful to get admission, and the students were provided with free boarding and lodging. It means free of cost boarding facilities were provided to them, like boarding schools are there where residence and food is provided, same was provided to them, and that was free of cost. And Sanskrit was used as the medium of instruction. Buddhist and Brahminical literature, logic, grammar, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, tantra, and art were important subjects included in the curriculum. So from here, question could be their name of subjects that were taught. So these were the subjects that were taught in this Nalanda University during the time of Gupta rulers. And the university became so famous that it attracted students from all over India and even from neighboring countries also. And Hyun Te-sung, the Chinese pilgrim, he also studied here for about 5 years. It means very famous education center this was. And this great center of learning flourished till the end of 12th century AD, when it was destroyed by Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khilji. So till this time period, this university was there providing education, but later on this was destroyed by Muhammad bin Bakhtiar Khilji, and who was one of the general of Muhammad Ghori. And the ruins of Nalanda University testify to its grandeur as recorded by Hyun Tesang. So the glory of this university is means about the glory of this university is written in the writings of Hyun Tesang, who was there near about for 5 years. Okay, then development in the field of science. So up to this we have done literary works of Kalidas, or we can say Sanskrit language, that we have done Nalanda University. Now from here we are going to start with the development in the field of science, and under this topic in your reduced syllabus Aryabhat is there in syllabus. So Aryabhat was a great astronomer and mathematician. So who was Aryabhat? He was a great mathematician and astronomer during the time period of Guptas. He wrote two famous works. So question could be there, write down the famous works of Aryabhat, or sometime name of writing could be given and they can ask name of writer. Okay, so he wrote the famous works the Aryabhatya and Surya Siddhanta. Aryabhatya deals with arithmetic, geometry, algebra, and trigonometry. And Aryabhat worked out the exact value of pi, that is we are using in this modern time period, and he discovered the formula to find area of a triangle. And in his famous work Surya Siddhanta, he explained scientifically the cause of solar and lunar eclipses. And he was the first Indian astronomer to declare that the earth is spherical in shape, and he proved that the earth revolves around the sun and rotates on its axis. So he was the first Indian who proved these realities. And India's first satellite that was sent into space was named Aryabhat after this great astronomer. So he was the greatest Indian astronomer and mathematician, and he was there during the time period of Gupta. So under this Aryabhat only there in our syllabus. And when we are talking about architecture, we are having Vishnu temple that is at Deoghar in our syllabus. So this question could be there under architecture of the temples. So let us start with this, as already this topic was there that we have discussed in our previous video. So in detailed about this temple is given here. The Vishnu temple at Deoghar, that is in Uttar Pradesh, was constructed in the 6th century, and the temple marked a transition from the early flat roofed temple to the later style with shikras or a tower. As I told you earlier, flat roofs were there, like our house roofs are there, but later on during this time period, shikras they started to make, and it stand on a white platform, like this picture of Vishnu temple is given here. Very wide platform is there, and over that raised wide platform temple is there, which is having shikras, and the platform is decorated with sculptures and showing scenes from the life and actions of Lord Rama and Lord Krishna, which inspired Indian artists in all ages. An important sculpture shown Hanuman bringing the whole hill containing the herbs that cured Lakshman of the mortal wound caused by Meghnada, the son of Ravana. So here the scenes depicted Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Hanuman, everything related to that Mahabharata, and not actually Mahabharata, means many things related to Ramayana as well as related to Mahabharata are depicted here for the decoration of this temple. Now the inner chamber or the Garbhagriha was surrounded by four porticos. Porticos means the columns of pillars, means number of pillars are there, and dedicated to Lord Vishnu. The deity is depicted as a Sheshaya, that is sleeping on the coil of the serpent called Sheshanaga. So here Lord Vishnu is shown, and the Sheshanaga, the very big snake, that is also shown, and Lord Vishnu is sleeping on the coil of that snake, that is known as a Sheshanaga. And the shikra of the temple is only partly preserved, and it was probably pyramidical in elevation, means a little bit this temple is spoiled due to the time period, only due to the natural forces. And in this chapter, up to this only we are having in our syllabus, but little bit just go through this chapter only, so that if something else in your papers could be, it is possible that something else could be there in your paper, so that you can give answers. Otherwise all the important topics that are in your syllabus I have covered, and if something else will be added, then I will let you know. Till the time, watch this video, try to get the topics, and if any confusion is there, you can message me. Thank you.